I met Aaron on a Thursday at trivia night when my sitter canceled last minute, and my neighbor's teenage daughter agreed to watch my son for 2 hours if I was home by 10. I almost didn't go, but my friend Liv kept texting, "You need to get out," so I threw on mascara and a denim jacket and went anyway. Aaron stood out because he was calm in a room full of loud. No showboating, no big stories, just a guy who knew random state capitals and smiled with his eyes. We were on different teams, but we ended up at the bar at the same time and started talking about the question everyone missed. He asked for my number like it was normal to ask for a number, no pressure, no game. On our first date he said in a steady voice, "I'm not looking for anything serious." He didn't say it like a test. He said it like a fact. I nodded because I didn't want to scare him off, and I told myself that men say that when they're scared or when they haven't met the right person. I figured a few good weeks and he would change his mind. I'm a single mom. I am good at changing minds. You have to be when the school loses your paperwork or the cable company mixes up your address. I thought love would work the same way. Our thing settled into a pattern. We saw each other once a week, sometimes twice if the sitter was free, and my son, Milo, had an easy homework night. We didn't sleep over at first because I had to be up at 6 to pack lunches and find missing shoes. He would kiss me at the door and text me home safe, 20 minutes later. It felt respectful, almost old-fashioned. After a month, we started spending whole evenings together. He learned I take my coffee with way too much creamer. I learned he keeps his freezer organized by date like a science project. When I sent him a selfie from the grocery store aisle asking, "Brownie mix or cookies?" he wrote back, "Both," and I stared at my phone grinning like a teenager. He met Milo by accident the first time. The sitter canceled, and I was already halfway to Aaron's place. I called ready to apologize and bail, and he said, "It's okay, bring him. We can order pizza." I warned him Milo would talk about dinosaurs for 90 minutes, but when we got there, Aaron pulled a stack of old Legos from his hall closet like he had planned for it. The two of them built a shaky spaceship while I cut slices and handed out napkins. It was simple. It was nice. It made something in me stretch toward a future I shouldn't have been writing yet. That night, after I tucked Milo in my bed and came out to the living room, Aaron said, "He's a good kid. You're doing great." My throat got tight because nobody says that out loud, not unless they mean it. I kissed him hard. In my head I added a sentence to his, "I'm not looking for anything serious." The sentence was, "Until you." I started weaving him into the edges of our routine without asking if he wanted to be there. When he texted on a Saturday morning, I'd say, "We're at the park, come by." Sometimes he did. Sometimes he said he had errands and came by later. The days he came, Milo would race to the swings and yell, "Aaron, watch me," and Aaron would clap like a good sport. He never called himself a stepdad, never tried to take credit, but he also didn't run. My friend said that was a green flag. I treated it like a promise. One night at my place, I asked what we were. I picked the exact moment, after dinner, when he was leaning back in the chair and looked soft and full. "I like you," he said first. "I like you a lot." I waited. He kept going. "I still don't want anything serious." I know that sounds cold, but it's me being honest. I made a joke about how men think honesty is a magic trick. He didn't laugh. He just took my hand and said, "I care about you. I care about Milo. I also know what I can give." I nodded with my mouth and argued with him in my head. People change when you give them something real to hold. I decided he just needed a nudge. The nudge I picked was my kid. I hate writing that, but it's what I did. I took the way Aaron looked at Milo like he was a person and not a burden, and I turned it into a plan. If I could show him what we could be together. Movie nights, school fairs, pancake mornings. He would stop thinking casual. He would start thinking family. I told myself I was just letting him in, not pushing him. But every choice had a push in it. I started sending him pictures I used to send only to my mom or to Liv. Milo in his Halloween costume. Milo asleep with a book on his chest, Milo's lopsided drawing of a rocket dad, that I pretended not to notice. Aaron replied with heart emojis and I treated those as steps toward a finish line. When Milo's school sent the notice about Family Day, I asked Aaron if he wanted to come, just as a friend. He hesitated and then said yes. He showed up on time with a small bag of donut holes, and ended up helping kids glue paper leaves to a giant cardboard tree. A mom I sort of know asked, "Is that your boyfriend?" And I said, kind of, like I was ashamed of the half-truth. Later, Aaron told me he had a good time, then added, "I don't want to give the wrong idea." I waved it off. In my head, the idea was already right. On Milo's birthday, I invited Aaron without telling him it would be my family plus a few neighbors. He walked into a living room full of streamers and my Aunt Lila's voice booming. So this must be the man. He stiffened for a second, then smiled and handed Milo a Lego set that made my son scream. During cake, my mom whispered, "He seems solid." I took that like a checkmark I could cash. I started leaving a few things at his place. A toothbrush, a sweatshirt, Milo's favorite stuffed sloth by accident. Aaron didn't make a big deal about it, but the next time I came over the sloth sat on the shelf instead of the couch. The toothbrush lay in a drawer, not on the counter. He wasn't cold, but he was careful. I took his care as a bruise and pushed harder. The breaking point wasn't loud. It was a Tuesday and daycare called to say Milo had a fever and needed to be picked up. I was in the middle of a client call I couldn't lose and my mom's phone went straight to voicemail. Without thinking, I texted Aaron. "Can you please get him? It's just across from your office." I included the address and the pickup code before he replied. He wrote back, "Are you sure?" "I don't want to overstep." I said, "You're the only one I trust." He left work and went. He sat with Milo on my couch for 2 hours, watching cartoons, until I got home. When I walked in, gratitude and relief hit me like heat. I started crying. He stood and hugged me and said, "It's okay." Then he added, "I can't be the emergency plan. I'm glad to help. I can't be the plan." I heard "I don't care" when he was saying, "I have limits." Instead of saying thank you, I picked a fight. I accused him of wanting all the sweet moments without the hard ones. He didn't argue. He left with a soft, "I'll talk to you tomorrow." The next day he sent a long text. "I like you. I care about Milo. I don't want to step into a role I didn't agree to. We need to slow down." I didn't slow down. I ramped up. I posted a photo of the three of us at the park and captioned it, "My favorite guys." He didn't like it. That should have told me everything. I asked him to come to Milo's parent-teacher conference because it would be useful to have another adult. He said no. I told myself he was scared of commitment, and decided to prove he didn't need to be. At a brunch with Liv and her husband, I joked that Aaron and I were basically a package deal now, loud enough for him to hear. He set down his fork and said, "We're not." On a Sunday night, I tried the last lever I had. The promise of a future. I asked him if he wanted to come by, just to hang out, nothing heavy. He came. Milo was at my mom's. I made pasta. We ate, watched a show, kissed on the couch. I said, "I love you." A sentence I had been saving to win the game. He went still. Then he said, kind but firm, "I'm sorry." I don't. I heard a door slam in my chest. I said things I regret. That he used me, that he led me on, that he played house without paying the cost. He didn't raise his voice. He said, "I told you at the start." He added, "You tried to make me something I'm not." He stood, picked up his jacket and said, "I care about you both. That's why I have to go now." He left his key on the counter, though I never asked him to take one. I had given it to him after the daycare pickup like a prize. I sent a storm of texts over the next week. Some were soft, asking to talk. Some were sharp, accusing him of being heartless. He replied once, "I'm not the right person for what you want. I'm sorry if I made that harder to see." Then he went silent. He started declining my invites for trivia. He stopped showing up at the bar. I heard from a friend that he asked to be put on a different project at work, so we wouldn't cross paths there either. At night, when Milo is asleep, my mind replays the small moments I turned into a story. The donut holes at family day. The Lego set. The pickup from daycare. None of those were promises. They were kind acts. I twisted them into a net and tried to pull him in. When he didn't fit, I blamed him for not folding. It didn't stop at silence. The moms from school noticed he wasn't around anymore. One asked, "Did things not work out?" And I laughed too hard and said, "It was nothing." Milo asked where Aaron went. I told him he's busy. Then Milo stopped asking and that hurt worse. My mom has not said, "I told you so," but I can hear it hiding in the way she asks, "Are you taking care of yourself?" Liv tried to defend me once, saying, "You were just trying to build a life." I shook my head. I wasn't building. I was forcing. The ugliest part is how I put Milo in the middle without saying that's what I was doing. I turned his birthday, his school day, his favorite animal, into pieces on my board. I told myself I was giving him a stable male figure. Really, I was giving myself a shortcut and calling it stability. When Aaron said no, I called him selfish. The truth is that he drew a line and I erased it with my feelings. I saw Aaron last week by accident, outside the coffee shop near the park. He was with a friend laughing. He saw me and his face softened. We said hello. It wasn't tense. It wasn't flirty. It was just two people who tried something and reached the edge of it. I wanted to say sorry the right way, without a follow-up ask, and I did. I'm sorry I pushed, I said. He nodded. Thank you, he said. Then he added, you're a good mom. That sentence almost knocked me over because I haven't felt like one lately. He didn't wait for me to fish for more. He said, take care, and walked on. He moved like a person without a weight dragging at his ankles. That's what winning looks like sometimes. Not a new relationship. Not a speech. Just a clean step forward. I deleted the photos that made us look like a family. I kept the one of the Lego spaceship, because Milo built most of it himself, and the pride in his face is real. I told my son that grown-ups can like each other and still not be a good fit as a team. He nodded like kids do when they are only half listening and asked if we could have pancakes for dinner. We did. I paid the sitter on time. I updated my emergency contacts to people who actually agreed to be on the list. I stopped sending pictures to men I've seen 3 times and started sending them to my aunt who frames everything. I thought a man saying, I'm not looking for anything serious, was a challenge. It was a boundary. I ignored it and used my kid like proof that he'd change if he just saw how close he already was. He didn't change. He walked away with his honesty intact. I'm the one who has to change now. Not for a man. For me, and for the small person who watches what love looks like and learns from what I do, not what I claim I meant. In the end, the only thing I locked down was the lesson.